What's good with YouTube? You already know. Big Flacco from ACP, the Comics Perspective. Hoping everybody's having a positive, productive day. We're about to get to a banger, but before we do so, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, comment, do all those things to help support your boy, and hit that bell notification for future fire content. So the other day, man, a partner from I met on YouTube, right? Stranger from Florencia, right? Jesse Serrano. He hit me up, man. It's been a long time, man. Tapped in with me, just told me what was going on with him. He's in Salinas Valley, right? And he told me some information, man, that his primo, right, Shadow from Rockwood, Vado Rockwood. Both these dudes are straight with it. They're both beasts, right? They're kind of known in the system, right, for just not taking shit from nobody and being respectful. But if you disrespect, they're gonna handle their business, right? Now, Shadow was part of a crazy case that he discussed on here about how he got away from the security escort and administration segregation, ran across the B yard to engage in combat with another inmate named character from True Blue, who was previously some type of associate, you know, some type of dude that he had a rapport with, right? But apparently character kind of changed his way of living, his lifestyle in there, right? And Shadow wasn't okay with that. Didn't want to associate with him. Therefore, disrespect came Shadow's way. Shadow said, hey, next time we see each other, we're going to deal with it. That's what ended up happening. You know, what people don't talk about was the individual character had came out of cuffs too and also had a piece on him. Okay, in the process of this happened in 2020 in New Folsom. Now, what everybody needs to recognize is this is during the same time frame when all the corruption was going on in Folsom. A lot of shit was going on. They were setting up fights, staging fights. And I don't think these two individuals were supposed to be under escort together in the same vicinity. I think that they were pretty much aware of this situation, that these guys had issues, and you know, they put them in a position for this to happen. You know, just like they did with Monster, just like they did with a couple of the AB situations. It's been going on in New Folsom for like the last 8 years, and a lot of this shit's been exposed recently. You know, with the KQED episode, with the AB trial, you know, and this is one more issue that they've tried to sweep under the rug, basically. Now, Shadow beat his 187 case, which he was fighting a death penalty case. They did get him with manslaughter. Okay, so, you know, hey, that's a victory for Shadow, man. And my condolences to, you know, character and his families. But as we know, prison's prison. Stuff's going to happen. And at times, we all put ourselves in situations where we know the consequences for our actions. Each one of us that goes to prison does times. When you conduct yourself in certain ways, you never know what's going to happen with the next man. When you make threats of violence, you never know what's going to happen with the next man. And when you disrespect the next man, you already know what time it is. So you got to be ready for when that time comes. That's just how prison operates. And it's just kind of a, you know, it's a blessing for Shadow, man, because Shadow's a good dude, man. I've had conversations with him and Stranger many times, right? And like I said, since doing this podcast, right, I've met people from all different walks of life. And I always had a lot of respect for a lot of the Southsiders from Southern California. As you know, one of my vecinos was a secretary for an medal when I was there, and I've been around a lot of those cats as well, and it was always respect, man, and always good conversations. But doing what I'm doing now, I get to interact with some of these guys behind the scenes and talk about stuff that you guys don't hear, man. And a lot of these dudes, man, they're good individuals, man, that just didn't really have all the right pieces in front of them to succeed, you know, and so I wish them all the best. You know, myself, being an ex-convict, doing time in prison, right, I get the conversations I have with these guys, where they're at, where their state of mind is, and how just that glimpse of what's going on in the free world, man, could really motivate a person for that day or for that moment. Because in there, you have to adapt to your environment. You know, you have to be ready to act on any type of sign of disrespect or threat at any given moment. You know, because the weak will get eaten. And if you allow yourself to be the prey, there's going to be predators everywhere you go in prison. And I don't think a lot of the youngsters understand that. You know, even on the active side, you know, there's people who prey and are predators, but they're not, their intentions are not really out there on Front Street. You know, you're not going to see it. It's those actions that you don't see, the ones that you have to worry about the most. Like the saying, a wolf in sheep clothing. It's the same thing in prison, man. You know, people can get through, get by with it for 20, 30 years, man, until their true intentions finally get revealed, right? But there's a lot of people, like I said, they know what they're doing. They know how to wiggle, you know, and, you know, talking to, Stranger and other cats, Dreamer recently, I've talked to Half Dead. A lot of people reached out recently, man, and, remember, a lot of times what's going on behind the prison walls is something that's blind to every one of us out here on the streets because we don't know what's going on in the atmosphere where they're at, the yard and whatnot. You know, the monster situation happened in New Folsom, right? You guys all seen the video, right? The shadow situation. He's under escort in administration segregation. Both individuals come out their cuffs, right? Someone gets their life took. And then now you have the situation that happened in Donovan with Snoop. Now these are just incidents that we know of. There's a lot more things that have happened in prison that is not talked about. Look at the situation that happened with Mondo Quinn. Okay, you're gonna tell me that the Department of Corrections in High Desert, that gunner did not know that Mondo Quinn was not the third ranking NF member in the state. The third highest ranking by grade and time in the state was Mondo Quinn. And all these years and all these murders and all these stabbings, nobody gets killed. All of a sudden, 2 people get killed when they do this movida. See where I'm going with this? My point in all this, right, is that any way you look at it, CDCR has blood on their hands, and even more so the last 5 years. And all that stuff that happened in New Folsom, right, is a prime example, right? And this case with Shadow happened during that same time frame. New Folsom, the correction officers there, their own little green wall, were doing some of the most fucking outlandish, scandalous shit ever. You know what I'm saying? They were having inmates set up that they had fucking dislikes towards. Giving people extra coffee, extra food, extra this and that to go fucking deal with somebody. That's how corrupt New Folsom had became. You know, I think it's time that they have a federal oversight commission look into the numerous violations by correctional officers at New Folsom State Prison. It's that time. You know, and any other institution where this type of behavior or conduct by officers is not just one incident, there's numerous incidents, and we're talking about people losing their life. And the worst one, right, was when they allowed the individual to be brutally murdered while he was handcuffed to a fucking desk, you know, and how they used inmates to do that and use leverage to have this done. That's the fucked up part about it, man. All these fucking situations need to be looked into, because I guarantee you, right, there's more than one situation to where it isn't what it seems, if that makes sense. Whatever sometimes people are saying or is being said, I guarantee you there's more behind the stories. That's why they were picking individuals that were on their last leg, that they really had nothing left to prove or to do. You know what I'm saying? But put in work. And that's why it's been, a lid was kept, you know, on these situations till recently, right? The KQED thing came out, man, and the things that Monster talked about as far as the interviews, I talked to Monster as well, man, and, you know, he told me that he has to do time, so he has to worry about, you know, attacks and being threatened by correction officers. But he told me that they did a practice run. He told me everything, that that was a setup on that case. You know, that this was asked to be done by you-know-who, the correction officers. So while these dudes are going to trial, getting time added to their sentences, right, ensuring that they probably won't ever see the streets again, these guys are being left out scot-free, and they're the ones that solicited for murdering these inmates. I'm not saying that has anything to do with the Shadow situation, okay? It's 2 totally different incidents, but I will say that I do feel correctional staff put these 2 in a situation where they would run into each other and something would happen. But right now, in the prison system, we haven't seen so much corruption by correctional officers since the 70s and 80s. Except for nowadays, we're like in a new era where like they're trying to get a piece of the pie. They're basically thugs with a fucking badge that operate as such, and they want their piece of the pie. Therefore, they're trying to dictate what goes on some of these prisons and the prison yards. Anyways, don't be surprised if you start to see indictments that are being issued out at certain institutions towards certain correctional officers by the feds. With that said, man, like I said, man, congratulations to Stranger. It gives him that opportunity to someday, man, he's going to be able to reach home, man. Catching just a manslaughter case. With that said, it's your boy Flacco, Comics Perspective. I'm out.